All right, we're going to work through this HiSET exam practice test 1. It's on the tab just above this. So hopefully you've done the test yourself, and now we're just going over this so you can get it better in your mind. Okay, so question 1 is 2x plus 11 is greater than 7. I really encourage you to print the test out or have it up on your phone or something so that you can see the questions in their entirety as I solve this. All right, so an inequality, remember we solve it just like a regular algebra equation. There's one extra rule at the end, but we'll get to that. Our 3 steps are I solve both sides, isolate the variable, and then you do the opposite. Well, solve both sides, combine like terms, there aren't any. So let's move on to isolate the variable. I want my 2x term by itself. So it's this 11 that needs to get moved. 2x. 11 minus 11 is 0, which is what I wanted. 7 minus 11 is negative 4. Remember, you'll have your calculator. In the third step, do the opposite. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. Anything you do to one side, you do the other. So x is greater than negative 2. Remember, the extra thing with inequalities is if I'm multiplying or dividing across the sign by a negative, I flip the sign. I didn't do that in this, though. This is a positive 2 that I'm dividing by. So I don't need to flip the sign, so the answer is B, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, if 5x plus y equals 27 and y is 2, then find x. Okay, don't make this hard. Every time I see a y, I'm going to put a 2 in. So 5x plus 2 is 27. All right, so we're to algebra now. Solve both sides. There are no like terms. Isolate my variable. So my variable term is going to stay by itself. Let's get this 2 moved over. So 5x, 2 minus 2 is 0. Good, that's what we wanted. 27 minus 2 is 25. Third step, do the opposite. Divide. Anything you do to one side, you do the other. 5 divided by 5, oopsie, I can do that kind of out, is 1, which is what I wanted. X equals 25 divided by 5. Whoa, sorry guys, that's a 5. So x equals 5. Not a pretty 5, but it is a 5. So D. Okay. All right, number 3 is an average problem. So remember, for averages, that means you take the total of the data, so you add all the data, and you divide it by the number of pieces of data. So in this problem, we got 4 people who went to a restaurant and paid separately. They spent $15, $17, $14, and $19. What was their average bill? Well, we're going to add the data. So we're going to add 15 plus 17 plus 14 plus 19. And we're going to divide by the number of pieces of data. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so use your calculator. Let's get it. 15 plus 17 plus 14 plus 19. So I got 65. So it's 65 divided by 4. Divided by 4. 16.25. 16.25. Remember, we're doing money. So it's $16.25, which was choice C. Okay. That was problem 3. Okay, 4 is a probability problem. We've got 4 men and 20 women. If one person is selected, what's the probability it will be a man? Okay, so remember, on probability, it's whatever you're wanting. The wanted or desired outcome over the possible outcomes. All right. Well, how many possibilities are there? 4 plus 20. There's 24 people we're drawing from, so there's 24 possibilities. What I want, though, is a man, so 4. So 4 over 24. All right. Now you look at it and you go with the answers. Wait, I know I did it right, and that's not one of the choices. Well, let's check it out then. So I'm going to enter this fraction. Go numerator, denominator. I'm entering 4 over 24. I'm going to scoot over. Got 4 over 24. Enter. It reduces to 1/6, and that is a choice. So remember, if you ever get an answer and you're like, I feel like I did everything right, and it's not a choice, then look back through and see, is there a different way to write it? And there was. The answer is 1/6, which is C. Number 5, 3x squared times 2x minus 7. Which of the following represents the product? They've told you product. So product tells you to multiply, but we already knew, right? Because we saw the parentheses. You know, if I had given you this, if I had written this right here, you would say, well, 3, that's 3 times 5, which is 15. So you know that. Parentheses mean multiply, but so does the word product. I'm going to have to distribute, though, and that was one of our earlier things, so be sure you go back and understand that concept. So 3x squared times 2x, 3 times 2 is 6. X squared times x, remember this is understood that it has a 1. And when you multiply like bases, you add the exponents. But I've got to distribute. Minus 3x squared times 7. 3 times 7 is 21. X squared. So then look and see. One of those answers, yes. The answer is E. 6x cubed minus 21x squared. Okay. Let's look at number 6. A t-shirt cost N dollars to purchase. A jacket cost M. So N is the t-shirt cost, and M is the jacket cost. Okay? Before tax, which of the following represents the cost to purchase the t-shirt and the jacket? Well, think about it. If you went to the store and you found a jacket for $30 and a t-shirt for $20, and you want to know how much it's going to cost, you're going to add the prices, right? That's all we're doing. So I'm adding the cost of the t-shirt plus the cost of the jacket, N plus M. And the answer is C. Make sense? We're just adding the 2, and that'll give me my cost, and then of course I have to figure tax, but they told me before tax. All right, number 7 is a volume problem. The diagram represents the dimensions of a cylindrical storage silo. If the silo already contains 100 cubic feet of grain, what is the maximum whole number of cubic feet of grain that can be added to the silo? All right, remember you're going to be given the formulas, so don't panic about that. The formula is for volume is pi times the radius squared times the height. So let's just go with what we got here. Start plugging in. So my volume is pi. I glance, the answers are all in numbers, so I know I'm not going to leave it as pi. Remember, pi is always 3.14 times the radius squared. Here's the one catch, guys. The radius squared. What is the radius of this silo? I heard everyone say 5, and you're exactly right. 10 is the diameter, which is all the way across. Radius is half of that, so it's 5 squared times the height. Height is 12. Okay, so let's just walk this through. You don't need to get worried about it. Walk it through. What is 5 squared? Again, you'll have your whoopsie, sorry, that's multiplied. You'll have your calculator to do, but 5 squared means 5 times 5, which is 25, times 12. Okay. All right, so let's look here on the calculator. Let's do all this. 3.14 times 25 times 12. All right, so here's the final kind of catch to this. You got to just think it through a smidge. Let me actually write it up here. 942. So my silo can hold 942 cubic feet. Remember, volume is always in cubic dimensions, cubic feet. But they told me something. They told me that there's already 100 cubic feet of grain. So you can kind of think of it like this. That this part is already filled up, so to speak, with 100 cubic feet. The whole thing can hold 942. It already has 100. So 942 minus the 100 that's already gone, I can hold 842 cubic feet, which is answer B. Okay. Number 8, an office assistant can type 65 words per minute. If he spends 3 hours a day typing, how many words can he type in 5 days? Okay, so let's think this through. There's a couple different ways to look at this. He can do 65 words per minute. Okay. He's going to type for 3 hours a day. And he's going to do this for 5 days. In other words, he's going to do it 5 times, basically is what that means. Okay, he can do 65 words in a minute. 3 hours a day. How many minutes are in an hour? 60. Correct. So 3 times 60. So he is going to type for 180 minutes a day, right? Well, he can get 65 in every one of those. So every day, he can type 65 times 180. So in one day, he can type 11,700. Well, he's going to do this 5 days. So I'm going to multiply that by 5. 58,500. So just think it through, which is, by the way, answer A. But just think through. 65 words a minute. Okay. 3 hours is 180 minutes. So I'm going to end up doing 65 times 180 times 5. You understand each of those pieces? I've got to do minutes, how many he can do a minute per hour. And then I figured that out by 5. Okay, that's number 8. Number 9, what percent of 650 is 78? Okay, so remember our formula for percent is the whole thing times the percent equals the part. So we're just going to plug in our pieces. What percent of 650 is 78? So 650 is the whole thing. The percent is what we don't know. So I'm just going to call it X. So we're going to do 650 times X, which is going to be 650X, equals the part, and the part is 78. All right, algebra. Solve both sides, already done. Isolate the variable, already done. Last step, solve by doing the opposite. So I divide both sides by 650, divides by 650, and I'm going to get 78 divided by 650, 0.12. And remember what that is, guys? That's 12 100ths, right? Tenths, hundredths. Well, 12 100ths is 12%, which is answer C. Whoop! Bad C, but that's C. The other way to do this, remember, is if you prefer to do proportions, then it'd be 78 out of 650. 78, the part over the whole, equals, we don't know what part over the whole. Well, remember in percent, the whole thing in percent is 100%. If you give everything, you give 100%. And what do we do when we have two equivalent fractions? Yes, we cross multiply. So I would multiply that and get, I'm sorry, I'm going to go up here because otherwise I'm going to be way down here. 78 times 100 is 7,800. Cross multiply these. 650 times x. All right. Algebra steps. 1, solve both sides. Done. 2, isolate the variable. Done. 3, undo. And look, that's the same thing as we had down here. We're just not going to have the decimal. So I'm going to do 7,800 divided by 650. X, or the percent, equals 12. So either way will give you the same answer, which is 12%. All right, number 10. The number of birds sighted by a bird watcher is directly proportional to the amount of time he spends in the park. If the bird watcher sights 30 birds when he spends 2 hours, how many birds will he sight if he spends 5 hours? Okay, so remember what I've told you on proportions. The biggest key is make sure you don't flip your things that you're measuring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do birds over hour. Okay, I could go the other way. I get the same thing as long as I stay consistent. So he sees 30 birds in 2 hours. So what they're asking me then is how many birds will he see in 5 hours? So we don't know how many birds, but we know the new thing is hours. Okay, so again, look at this, what we just looked at a minute ago. When you see equivalent fractions, remember, cross multiply. 30 times 5 is 150. 2 times x is 2x. Your 3 steps. Number 1, solve both sides. Done. 2, isolate your variable term. Done. 3, do the opposite. X equals 75. So in that amount of time, if he was there for 5 hours, he would see 75 birds. Let me just show you this because I don't want you to get worried about, oh my goodness, which one should be on top. Doesn't matter as long as I stay consistent. In 2 hours, he saw 30 birds. In 5 hours, they're asking me, we don't know, how many birds would he see? X. Cross multiply. 2x equals 150. Hey, we're right back there again, right? 2, x equals 75. So it doesn't matter which one you put on top and which you put on the bottom, what unit. The name of the game is stay consistent, which is why I always like to write it here so that I know exactly what I've done. I don't have to go back and go, wait, which one did I put on top? I told myself right there, okay? Number 11. All right. If 2/3 x equals 6, then find x. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways to look at this. What we've known so far, first step, solve both sides, done. Second step, isolate, done. Third step, solve by undoing. All right? Well, this is multiplying, so I'm going to divide by 2/3. Let's just do this because you'll have your calculator. So, I mean, this looks crazy, but those cancel to become a 1. X equals 6 divided by 2/3. So, I do 6 divided by, then hit the fraction bar, 2 over 3. I look at it and see that's what I wanted. Ha! It equals 9. Calculator did all the work for me. What I was going to tell you is how really dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. And so you flip it over, but your handy dandy calculator will do the work for you. Okay? Alrighty. Number 12. A box of pancake mix measures, let me do this box for us a little bit here. Let me sketch it out a smidge. All right, here's my box of pancake mix. Not great, but there we go. It measures is 11 inches tall, It's 5 inches long and it's 3 inches wide. Okay? So shipments from the factory come, the single box like this, the single box that they have would have 20 of these boxes in it. So in cubic inches, what is the smallest possible volume of the large box? So in other words, what size is my big box where I can stick 20 of these in it? So I need to find out one of these first. And they've told me the volume is the length times the width times the height. Again, you will have your formula sheet. So the length, and look, it's multiplying, which can be done in any order. So don't panic on, wait, which one are we calling length? Which one are we calling width? We're all multiplying them, okay? So I'm going to go with the height being 11. That's kind of the most obvious. The length I'm saying is 5, and the width is 3. So there's our 3 dimensions. So let's look at this. 5 times 3 times 11. Hey! So 165. Awesome, right? 165 cubic, because it's volume, cubic inches. Well, that's good news. Oh, but wait. That is a choice. But remember they told me that my big box is going to have 20 of these in it. So I've got to take that and multiply it by 20. Hey, 3,300. So for 20 of these, I'm going to require 3,300 cubic inches, which is answer A. So don't stop one short. This is awesome. If you got that far and you found the volume of that box, great job. But on this problem, they didn't ask just for the volume of one box. They asked for the volume of 20. So multiply the final by 20 and you get 3,300. Okay, number 13. I have great news. If you're panicking on number 13, that is the quadratic formula, which is not on the HiSET. Can I hear everyone cheer? Yay! So don't worry about 13. Let's go on to 14. That's one of those inequalities again, but we know how to do these, so this doesn't even scare us. Minus 3x is less than 0. Okay, we want our 3 steps, right? 1, solve both sides. All right, well, combining like terms, nothing I can do. 2, isolate the variable. Let's get it alone. I need my negative 3x by itself. So this 1's what I got to move, so we'll move it. 1 minus 1, 0. So now I've got negative 3x is less than negative 1. And 3, hey, they're giving us our little trick on this one. This is where we do the opposite. All righty. So negative 3x, I've got to divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3, because negative 3 divided by negative 3 is positive 1, which is what I wanted. Negative divided by negative, if you're worried, do that in your calculator, and it will show you that's a positive. A negative divided by negative is positive. But here's, remember, our catch for inequalities. If I multiply or divide across the sign, so I do both sides by a negative sign, I have to flip the sign. Okay? And so then it says, which of the following is a solution for that? Well, my answer, x, is going to be greater than 1/3. So look at my choices. I'm going to skip the first one. Is 0 greater than 1/3? No. Is negative 1 greater? No. Is negative 2 greater? No. Is negative 5 greater? No. So the answer was A. 3 is the only one of those choices that is greater than 1/3. They made you think a little bit on that one. 15. A portion of a kitchen floor measuring 60 inches long by 96 inches wide. So I've got my kitchen floor, and it is 60 by 90. Oops, sorry. By 96. It's going to be tiled. How many 6-inch square tiles would be required to cover this portion of the floor? That's going to be a catch to it. Just saying. Area, they've told me, and again, you'll have the formula. Area is length times width. So in this situation, it's 96 times 60. Use your calculator. 96 times 60. So the area I'm covering is 5,760 square feet. Okay, square inches, sorry. Square inches. It's square because area is always in square units, always. Okay, so every one of these is going to be cut in a little piece, which you're thinking it's going to be 1 by 1, but what they've told us is every little square is 6 by 6. There's the catch. So of each little square tile, what is the area of every tile? The area of the tile, I'm going to put the area of the tile is the same deal. Length times width, it's a square, so they're the same dimension. 6 times 6. So every tile takes up 36 square inches. I'm going to write it this way just to remind you. That means the same thing, right? So this is my total. I'm going to divide it into all these pieces. Every tile is going to take up 36 square inches. So I've got my 5,760. I've got to divide it by 36. 160. So my final answer is how many of these tiles I would need. I'm going to put T here so we know what we're talking about. T for tiles. So I'm going to need 160 of these tiles because every tile takes up 36 square inches. So it's going to take 160 of them to cover 5,760 square inches. All right, number 16. Good news. My understanding is there's nothing like that on the test. If you're just dying to see it, or the one back up here, give me a holler and I'll show you how to do it. But we are going to ignore number 16. Yay! Okay, let's look at number 17. 17, Charisse invested $500 in a CD, which is a certificate of deposit, that earned 1.5% simple interest per year. After 2 years, how much interest has she earned? All right, they want to know the interest, and they've told me my formula for interest is principal times rate times time. Okay, so we don't know the interest. Let's just plug in, though, what we got. The principal, what she invested, was $500 times the rate. They've told me the rate is 1.5 and the time is 2 years. Okay, so using my calculator, principal 500 times 1.5 times 2. Okay, now I want to show you something. If you do it that way, I get $1,500. All right, here's the thing. This is a percent. So remember, when you do a percent, you actually move the decimal back 2 places. So as a percent, this is 0.015 times 2. And if I do that, I get 15.00, which is perfect because we're doing money. Okay, so it'd be, that would work out. I want to show you. If you get worried about making that conversion, because I'm doing it by percent, so you're like, wait, I'm not sure what that is, 1.5%. Here's what you do on your calculator. Put the 1.5 in, and then you'll see the percent is green up here. Well, I got to go green, so I do that. And then I hit that button, and you see 1.5%, enter, look, 0.015. It made the conversion for me. So if you get nervous, just use that to figure it out, okay? So $15, which was answer B. All right, number 18. The monthly cost of a cell phone plan is $35 plus 3 cents for every minute over the total of 500 minutes, okay? So in dollars, what will Javante's bill be if he uses 800 minutes in a single month? Okay, so he's going to use 800 minutes. Javante was in a talkative mood. He uses 800 minutes. Well, they've told me no matter what, it costs $35 plus 3 cents, 3 cents, which is 0.03, because I'm going to do it as cents, for every minute over 500. Guys, what is 800 minus 500 is 300. Okay, so got to think that through. There's 300 minutes more, so he's got to pay for that extra 300 minutes of chatting. So we're going to do the 300 minutes times the money, the 3 cents each. So he spent $9 on his extra talking. So it's $35 plus 9. So he spent a total of $44 that month, which is answer B. So just take the two pieces. It says no matter what, if he doesn't talk, if he talks 500 minutes, if he talks 200 minutes, if he talks 500 or fewer, he spends $35. Anything he goes over the 500, he pays 3 cents a minute. So he went over by 300 minutes, so he's got an extra $9 in overage for a total of $44. Okay. Number 19. Okay, number 19, there are a couple of ways to solve this. There's what's called a point slope formula, but I'm going to teach it to you without that, partly because I'm saving you from learning another formula, and partly because I want you to really recognize, if they tell me that a line runs through both of these points, which one of these equations is the line? What that means is both of these points have to make the equation true. Because you're going to see stuff like this, where you're going to be figuring out a point on a line or something. And so I need you to understand this idea. Okay, so if this point is on this line, then this point makes this true. Remember, it's always x first. So x comma y. So x is 2. So I'm going to have 1/2 times 2, and y is 3. So 1/2 times 3, you could do your calculator, but that's 3 halves. This is 2 halves, which is 1. Is that true? No. So we throw out A right there, guys. Okay? That's what that means. It has to make it true, and it does not. So let's look at B. 1/2 y equals 3x. Let's just start with our first point. Okay, x is 2. So it's, 3 times 2, 1/2 times y is 3. 1/2 times 3, you can do it on the calculator, 3 halves. 3 times 2 is 6. Nope. B's out. Let's come over to C. 2y equals 3x. All right, so x is 2. 3 times 2, y is 3. 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Equals 3 times 2 is 6. Is that true? Yes. So that's a possibility. So let's just try our other point then. Okay, so same equation, because we're talking about the same line. All right, x is 4. So 3 times 4. Y is 6. So 2 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. Does 12 equal 12? Yes. So this is my answer right here. C is the correct answer.